but this was a lesser pick. You remember this, Jeff? This was like the biggest thing in our world. It was like the biggest thing that had ever happened was the firing and rehiring of Teresa Sullivan. And there are some reasons for that, but I think you are on to something about what the faculty response may have been. We just did an episode with Lee Gardner recently about the deterioration of faculty administrative relations. So we know that no confidence votes are on the rise and presidential tenures are getting shorter. There's so much acrimony between faculty and presidents now that it's hard to envision presidents rallying around a president like she's a rock star, which is essentially what happened to Teresa Sullivan, who is decidedly not a rock star, as we know. But at the same time, that was the treatment she got. But here's why I think it might still happen if the fact pattern was the same. Sullivan, if you'll recall that turmoil, which happened in 2012, she was siding with what I would say is the faculty position. She was saying to this board, wait a minute, we're not going to dive headlong into online education. We're going to study this. I'm an incrementalist. We're going to think hard about the implications of this. We're probably going to have a bunch of committees, which is faculty's love language, that we're going to potentially have some committees. And so something remarkable happens, right? The board folds. They reinstate Teresa Sullivan because public opinion is so strongly on her side. So I think you're right. Maybe that wouldn't happen with faculty. But the thing that, and I'm curious what you think about this, Jeff, I think that if this happens today, the board never reinstates her. I think that these boards are stacked with these political appointees, and we have seen that they are impervious to public opinion. I mean, I don't think they'd care one bit if there was a faculty uprising over their firing of a president. Do you, Jeff?
No, I don't think so necessarily, especially they don't really care about the faculty. I think if there was an uprising among maybe some other stakeholder groups, maybe. And
donors. I guess we did see that at Penn, right?
Yeah, we saw that at Penn, and I'm also kind of fascinated. Sarah mentions this photo that you have in the conference room at the Chronicle of the faculty kind of surrounding Teresa Sullivan. She described it on the show.
Yeah, she heads to the rotunda. There's this throng of supporters around her.
Yeah, and again, as she was describing that, I'm like, could I imagine that? I could imagine a throng of people around a president, but not in support, right?
Well, it's interesting because I remembered also as part of it was that she was also under negotiate, like she had been talking to Coursera or edX or whoever it was at the time. And then they were like, oh, you were having the conversation. And it was like just rampant lack of remembrance or communication from the president and the board on all sides. That feels very common still, frankly, today. But actually it leads me to a different point, which is, so I remember that one pretty well, but if I'm being super honest, I don't think I knew or perhaps remembered, if I'm being charitable to myself, 4 of the 16 picks that you all had. 2 of those happened to be on Sarah's team, the Safaris at Western State, New Mexico University. I did not know that. The Bluefield story, which is an incredible one, the Olive Jar on Andy's team. And Jack, you're going to be mortified by this, given your role in the story, not being tased, but being present for the tasing. I guess I must have been under a rock, or I was writing my first book at the time with no salary. But I have zero recollection of the "Don't Tase Me, Bro" story.
Well,
Oh,
Michael,
my goodness.
yeah, Michael, I don't feel bad. I didn't remember 2 of them, Jack.
Okay.
The Bluefield State, where the president published